Good morning, beloveds. I always warn you that whatever's going in your life will affect the way you read sacred literature or, any literature at all. And so I'm going to confess that I don't feel good today. I've woken up 2 days in a row with raging headaches. It's just really hot and I just hurt today. So, but we do have an interesting title. So I'm a little subdued. That's what it is. And tomorrow I'm sure I'll feel better. Maybe even later this day. The good news is I have nothing to do today. Today is my day of rest. Today is my rest day. We did go to the park and it was just hot. But today is my day of no obligations. And so I'm going to take the time to take a nap or two, cuddle with my cats, and just really probably watch Ancient Aliens, but don't tell anybody. All right, it is June 17th. Our title is Ocean of Spirit. Our author is Ruth B. Smith, and this was published in Divine Science Monthly in 1933. So this should be interesting. We live in an ocean of spirit. It is formless, limitless, undifferentiated, impersonal, intelligence, power, life, and substance. It is differentiated only by the word, which is often in terms of limitation. Who thinks except people? What do they think except that this spirit, what do they think into except this spiritual substance? This substance is so volatile, so vital, so responsive that it is taking shape continuously, not because it has specific plans of itself, but because of its inherent responsiveness. This responsiveness is what we know as life or livingness, which takes form according to the determining factor, which is us, which is people. The God idea of people is Christ, and every human being is a representation of Christ. Just as every grain of wheat is a representation of the God idea of wheat, or every rose is a replica of the principle of the rose. People, the one determinant, must exercise their birthright. They are also choosing, deciding, measuring, limiting the universal substance. Their personness is their authority. She's got a little author, itty, and then authority. Spirit does not limit them. Spirit does not determine what their experience is to be. Spirit does not hand out conditions. It cannot, because it is unlimited, impersonal. Awake to the responsibility of this stage of unfoldment. Think strength and you will realize strength. Think opulence and you will know supply. Speak your word of good and know that it will be fulfilled. Maintain that word until it comes into form. And then she gives you a suggestion to study Hebrews 2, 3 through 8 and Psalms 8, 4 through 9. All right. I agree with her. I agree with her that we live in an ocean of spirit. It's an excellent analogy. And that spirit is formless until it comes into form. And frequently, when we bring spirit into form, we bring spirit into form with limitations. Limitations that we ourselves impose. And we don't have to, but we don't know that we don't have to limit spirit. All of the spiritual teachers say that they talk about the eternal givingness. Jesse's been working with Frederick Keeler and Francis Lord, and I think he's used that word a couple of times. The eternal givingness. It's like spirit always says yes. The problem is we say but. When I was in ministerial school, I learned the term both and. I was like, what is this? It's like you can have both and more. You don't have to choose between. And so that is what Ruth is talking about. Ruth is talking about that we impose the limits on spirit. And she says, God's idea of you is unlimited. And that was one of the things that I learned when I clicked into the Philosophy Friday class. They were talking about Goswami, and I took 2 classes with Goswami. I didn't take the third one, and I've been meaning to go back and see what that book was for that one. Because, I mean, honestly, his classes, he just reads the book to you in his classes. Or maybe the book is a transcription of his lectures. But that's where I got that idea of God's idea of you. When you are doing healing work, you want to go back to God's idea of you, not your idea of you, because your idea of you is limited. Because that's what we've been taught by society, by culture, by religion. When you look around the world, we've been taught limitations. Whereas God's idea of you is unlimited. So when you want to heal something, you go back to God's idea of you, because God's idea of you is pain-free. God's idea of you is perfect. It's whole. It's complete. And frequently our idea of ourselves is incomplete. And we buy into the race consciousness that includes pain. So, and I'll straight up tell you that, I've bought into this. I look around and I'm like, I could practice hardball metaphysics like Emma, but I'm not Emma Curtis Hopkins. So I, to a degree, allow race consciousness to dictate some of my life. And then sometimes I look at my life and go, yeah, well, I know what's going on, but I'm going to push through it anyway. And then some days I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to rest. What is the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing I can do for myself? Well, today it's not push. It's just too hot. That feels like today could be up to 115. So, I'm not crazy. I'm only half crazy. So that's what she's talking about. It's like every single one of us. What was it that she said? Because it was really well stated. The God idea of people is Christ. I talk about the Christ consciousness. Now, because my mother is an engineer, I talk about the Christ consciousness like software. The Christ consciousness is software. This is our hardware. The body is our hardware. The Christ consciousness is software, and we come pre-installed with it. We don't always activate it. And sometimes it might not be a bad idea to go back to factory settings, hit that reset button. Sometimes we've gotten so stuck in our ways that it's like it wouldn't be a bad idea to hit the reset button and go back to factory settings. Go back to the setting of love, unconditional love. Go back to the Christ consciousness. Go back to that hopeful optimism. Go back to that childlike wonder. You want to talk about going back to factory settings. Every human being is a representation of Christ. Every human being, whether they've heard of Jesus or not, it doesn't matter. They're still a representation of Christ, because the Christ is a consciousness. And so we can give other religions the grace of, they call it something different, but it's still the Christ consciousness. Every religion has it. Every person has it, whether they have religion or not. I firmly believe that. So the one determinant must exercise their birthright. So we have to exercise our birthright. We have to choose. We have to decide. We have to measure. And we do limit the universal substance. So our personness is our authority. We author our experiences. And we have the right to change our mind. Spirit does not limit Spirit does not limit us. Spirit does not determine what our experiences are. Spirit does not hand out conditions because it is unlimited. It is unpersonal. Spirit is not going to look, Spirit didn't look at me and go, well, you know what? This is the experience you're going to have. Those are the experiences that I have are based on the choices that I have made to a degree. And then because we are in relationship, they are based on the choices that others have made. I'm not going to give too much of my power away and say that, all of my experiences, but when I'm in relation with another, I do have a partner. And so, my experiences are based on our decisions, our choices. And then I do live in a community. So, but that was one of the things about joining this Philosophy Friday group is it is about being with minds. I'm not even going to say like minds, because I'm sure we all have our own ideas, but, minds that look at the world and say, you know what, it could be better. And we have the power to make a different choice. So, awake to the responsibility of this stage of unfoldment. Think strength and you will realize strength. Think opulence and you will know supply. Speak your word of good and know that it will be fulfilled. Maintain that word until it comes into form. And that's one of those things. It's like do your treatment and then treat your treatment is what Ernest Holmes says. And believe until you see it. It's not the other way. It's like, I'll believe it when I see it. Nope. It's the other way around. You believe until you see it. So, this substance is so volatile, so vital, so responsive that it is taking shape continuously, not because it has specific plans of itself, but because of its inherent responsiveness. This responsiveness is what we know as life. And we are the determining factor. So, oceans of spirit. I would say the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to recognize that we are the determining factor in shaping spirit around us. If you look at quantum physics, according to quantum physics, we each live in our own world. We shape our own world around us. Nobody else lives in quite exactly the world that we live in. Even the people that are closest to us. You are the determining factor of your world. You shape spiritual substance because it responds to you. So take your authority. And if you can't stop limiting spirit, because I'm not sure we can, in this material form, reduce your limitations on spirit. Let spirit unfold into the eternal givingness glory that it is, and see how it can change your life. Was that a coherent mission? I'm not sure. The mission is to recognize that you are the determining factor. Okay? You are the determining factor in your world. And make choices based on that. All right. I'm going to recommend the spiritual practice of doing something loving for yourself, doing something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself, which is what I'm talking about today. I did go to the park. It was hot. I was tired. It hurt. And I said, you know what? One loop is enough. And I'm going to go home. The squirrels weren't into it. The blue jays weren't into it. We did see one of the woodpeckers though. And so sometimes the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing you can do is say, I'm done, and go home. So please practice that. I'm talking about the spiritual principle of self-care. All right. It is a spiritual practice. It is whatever word I was about to say is gone. So I'm just going to let it go and remind you that the spiritual principle of self-care, practice love, kindness, and compassion on yourself. I mention it every day because I want you to create a well-worn path to the source of your own being. When we go there, I was talking about us being the determining factor. Well, the determining factor, we are the determining factor. Let's create a well-worn path to the source of our own being. Let's create a well-worn path to that source, that intelligence, to that vital, responsive source, so that no matter what happens, we can get there. And we can practice love, kindness, and compassion on ourselves because we deserve it. I just saw a clip where Jay Shetty was talking about whatever you want from a partner, give to yourself. So love, kindness, and compassion. Practice on yourself. You are your own best test subject. But more importantly than that, you deserve it. You deserve love. You deserve kindness. You deserve compassion. Practice on yourself. And it's as simple as taking a deep breath before you speak. It's just that simple. And when you speak to yourself as well as when you speak to others. But it also looks like taking a walk. It looks like taking a nap. It looks like taking a break. It looks like taking a walk and deciding you're done and going home early. It also looks like joy. Self-care looks like joy because joy is a quality of God. Therefore, it is a quality of you. And so what I want to do is encourage you to make room for joy. No matter what is going on in the world, it does not matter. You still deserve joy. Make room for it. All right? Okay. Oh, I'm going to need a drink of water, so I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to remind you, also, I do encourage you to engage your mind and your body, whatever that looks like to you. Unless today is your day of rest, or if you're just going to make it a day of rest, because that's good too. I do encourage you, obviously I need some oxygen. I do encourage you to drink plenty of water. Like I said, ours feels like it's going to get to 115 today. I don't intend to do much today. And that's a good thing. So, but I do intend to hydrate the heck out of myself. I've already had half my trace mineral water, so I'm going to go finish that. Drink plenty of water. Your brain works better when it is well hydrated. Your body works better when it is well hydrated. I do encourage you to get that early in your day bright light. It was overcast and cloudy when we got to the park, so that was fun, but I did get some bright sunlight just before we left. It's kind of hot though, so I'm talking 5 minutes. Early in your day, bright light will support it's a natural hormone cycle. It's a rhythm. And it's called the circadian rhythm. It starts with a C if you want to look it up. That early in your day bright light, and artificial light can help too. So you get that early in your day bright light. It helps to reset those hormones, and you will sleep better at night and have more energy during the day. So try it. I try and give you practical, self-care suggestions. And that's one of them. And then my last one it's my favorite Ernest Holmes quote. Not from my favorite Ernest Holmes book, go figure, but my favorite Ernest Holmes quote. Open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. It goes back to what Ruth was talking about. We live in an ocean of spirit. Everything around us is spirit. Everything around us is God. When that rocks you back on your heels and you look around in the world and you go, oh, you will move through the world differently. That's why I like that quote. Open the windows of your soul. Be willing to be aware. It's like she says, awake to the possibilities. When we recognize that everything around us is sacred. Yeah. And you can always take Emma's advice. Look for the good and praise it. Heaven is a mindset. It is a state of consciousness. It is not a place we have to get to. It is a mindset that we create. And so heaven can be anywhere and any when. All right? Heaven is not bound by time and space. While we are in these mortal bodies, we are bound by time and space. But heaven isn't bound by time and space, which means you can get there now. Create that mindset. Open your soul. And when I say open your soul, part of what I mean by that is I'm reminding you is the soul that you use, that soul that you have individualized into you belongs to the great oversoul, which is, in the long run, goes back to spirit. We have differentiated it out to ourselves, but it's still part of that soul. We can't separate from it completely, and that's the good news. All right, beloveds. Like I said, take Emma's advice. Look for the good, because gratitude will get you everywhere. Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath right now, and then I'm going to remind you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. So I want to encourage you to check out the content on there. We do have a soul session coming up this Wednesday, so that'll be really good. And I'm apparently about to lose my voice, so maybe, yeah. If you want to know what's going on with the center, email info@creativelife.org. That will get you on the constant contact. The constant contact, the hot links in that email are hot. When it says click here now, it'll either take you right to the information you want or to the person that'll help you get it. With my favorite example being our YouTube playlist. You can click on the Soul Session playlist and it'll take you right to the Soul Session playlist. And then you can look at all the great content on there. And then once you're in the YouTube, you can subscribe so you'll know when we post new videos. You can look at all the other playlists. I'm very proud of the playlists because Reverend Arthur has his own playlist. Danielle has her own playlist. Reverend David has his own playlist. I have my own playlist along with my own YouTube channel. So, and there's a playlist for this thing called You. I read you this thing called You in a few weeks. So it's all available. All right. I guess I'm at the part where I encourage you to have a great day, wondrous day, a fantastic day, magical day, an enchanted day, a wonder-filled day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a resting day, a feeling better day, a determining day, a recognizing spirit around us day, a living in the ocean day, a God's idea of you day, a God's idea of us day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough just as you are. You're a beloved child of God. You are a brilliant light. You are a divine spark. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action, or as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. Take care of yourself and know who you are. All right? You are a godling in whom God is well pleased and well represented. You may be the only Bible some people read. Are you teaching people the God of your understanding? All right. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time.